We're back today to have a conversation with Amanda, the second in a series of conversations we're having about seeking to have childcare. And Amanda's chosen to use family daycare, and she's going to tell us about her experience in getting that childcare. And last time we met Amanda, we talked about all the things you were looking for in a childcare worker, an educator in family daycare. And today you're going to tell us about the contact you've made with that educator.
So we received information from our service about that they had chosen a suitable candidate for us to meet. So we received the educator's contacts and made contact with the educator quite quickly. We were quite keen to meet her and see her environment. So within a week or so we had made an appointment to visit the educator in her environment, and so myself and Anne went along to meet the educator. And
So Amanda, tell us about what it felt like when you pulled up outside that educator's home.
So I had lots of nervousness and anxious, and felt like we weren't sure, and a lot of unknowns, I guess.
Yeah.
And we had made a time, and it was in the afternoon after the educator had children, and we arrived, and our educator had realised we were out the front, and I was getting Anne out of the car, and she came with her son to greet us in the car and help me get Anne out of the car, and her son with her, and he's 15 months old, and he came out to the car and greeted us and said, "There's another little baby coming to see us today." And it was really nice that they were welcoming us from outside the home before we even got in, and they greeted us really warmly, and Remy her son was very eager to show us his environment, because not only is it educator's home, it's their family home. So that was really nice, and he was very keen to get us inside to show his play areas and where he slept and everything. So the first thing we did was the educator showed us around her environment. So the bathrooms, change tables, sleeping areas, the reading and the quiet area, where they do floor play and group time together. Outside they had a outdoor kitchen, and that's Remy's favourite area of the house, and he was very keen once we put Anne down on the mat to show Anne how they do cooking. So Anne was just showered with all these plates, sausages and fry pans and spoons and all sorts. So with his small language that he has, he was trying to include her in that environment, and how he was just excited that there was another little baby, and how the educator spoke to myself but over the children, because Remy being 15 months, he's on the go and he's quite active, but how she communicated with the children, even though Anne is not verbal or anything, but always kept her eye on both of them. And
how did that make you feel?
I just loved her interactions with them, with both of the children, herself and Anne, and how she never took her eye off either one of them through the whole time we were there. I thought we'd only been there about 45 minutes, but when we left it was 2 hours later, and I thought, oh God, it feels like we've only been here a minute. But it's just, the conversation was really about the children and, the type of things they do, because she's got all of under 2 in care, so the kind of things they would do during the day, and how a bit of the routine would go, and how it's very flexible because of sleeping and when they need to feed, and they all don't feed at the same time, and sleep. So we discussed, of course, the main issues around what days of care and a little bit about routine, but a lot about the type of interaction she would have and the type of routines and the type of play that she would do.
I remember when we were talking the first time, you talked to me about some really concrete things that you were looking for from that educator around the type of environment that they were going to offer. So you've talked about that.
Yeah.
What about the area around the development and how she was going to communicate with you? Was that something that you spoke about?
Yeah, that was the other big things that we spoke about, was about Anne's child development and progress and how she would communicate that with us. So our educator's very comfortable electronically, so she communicates most things electronic. So the day-to-day things of how much sleep, food, nappies, things like that, that gets reported back at the end of the day via her website. Each parent gets a login to her website, and in the website it will, because you don't always get time to speak in the afternoon or in the morning, so that website provides parents with the basic things that we want to know quickly, but also the things about how they're progressing. Did they roll? Did they crawl? Did they, they're sitting up more, or the kind of things. But she was really, her motto that I just really, really loved and really touched me was to know a child, to care for a child, you need to know the parents. And that really struck a chord with me because at this stage they can't communicate. So to know us as a family is really, really important to us. So,
Great.
So that was really lovely and really touched me.
Yeah.
And
So what's the transition from Anne being with you into care? What's your arrangements now with this educator?
The educator is really flexible in transitioning.
Yep.
So we've discussed a couple of options where we would go and meet them while she's got other children in care for an hour and a half.
Yep.
So Anne gets used to the environment and meet the other children that will be there. She had some options about doing some half day, depending how comfortable we were, but she says that 9 times out of 10 it's a lot harder for the parents to let go of their little ones than for the little ones to be okay in that environment. Normally, once you've gone, they're happy and they just get on with it. They see the other children and, it's just a routine. But she said there's a lot of separation for the mum. So she said depending on how mum's feeling is depending on how she transitions children. So a lot of the time it comes back to how mum and dad are feeling.
And that's so important. It's so important for parents to understand it's as much about their separation as it is about the child separating from them. But sometimes having that conversation, and obviously your educators provided you with that information to support your understanding about that. So I think that's a really great start in your relationship in building with this particular educator.
Yeah.
So Amanda, we look forward to hearing about your next part of your journey.
Yeah.
When Anne actually starts going along to that transition and then the actual starting into care. So that will happen when? About?
Probably in the next month or so.
Next month, okay. So after you transition and you start work, we'll come back again and we'll have our third conversation about what it felt like to go through that process.
Yeah.
So thank you, Amanda. Thank
Thanks,
you for
Kim.
coming along.
So I look forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah.